My very good friend made some slightly dumb mistakes and sent some pictures to someone that she reasonably thought she could trust, but not knowing much more than his first name, his screen name, and roughly where he lived and the type of work he did. He is not in our country but had indicated that he would be traveling for work to near us shortly, and they had made some plans to meet. And when she got some red flags and backed out, the dude threatened to publish these pictures online. I am, incidentally, an attorney. So, some searching later, and gathering up any pictures he sent her of him, that could possibly identify him, his online handle led me to a TikTok page, which led me to an Instagram page with his name on it. That led to a LinkedIn page with his place of work that matched a picture he sent with a branded polo he was wearing. Some more search got me the email of the CEO, VP of HR, Operations Manager, and Public Relations Manager. I just fired off an email on behalf of my client of the screenshots of him threatening revenge porn, snippets of the conversation showing that username while he sent that exact picture of him wearing his company's branded apparel, links to how I know it's him, along with pictures he sent her of his motorcycle with the license plate showing, as further proof it is him. I also included screenshots of him discussing a workplace incident that were time-stamped, along with pieces of dialogue discussing how he had sex with an ex at his place of work, and discussing plans to have sex with her in his office as well. I also included a picture he sent her showing his work laptop with his entire Outlook calendar, along with proprietary information, which he sent to prove he was busy, along with other pictures he took of his workplace with non-consenting employees. I further informed his employer that I will be forwarding all this information to them, law enforcement, and since he had indicated that he would be traveling to the United States soon, will also forward this to the local office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation since my client is a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil, these threats constituted a federal crime. So that should they continue with his employment, and continue with their plans to send him to the United States for work, I will ensure, on behalf of my client, that federal law enforcement is waiting for him on arrival. Which I will do, as one of the assistant U.S. attorneys for this region is a law school buddy of mine. Since I have his license plate #I know where he lives, and will be contacting his local authorities tomorrow. You dumb motherfucker, thinking you were hiding around anonymity, thinking you could threaten my friend? It took me 45 minutes to destroy your life. Relevant comments. There are a lot of people with law opinions, so I tried to find ones that fit the big picture. This is fake because it's not a federal crime. Revenge porn is indeed not a federal crime, you are absolutely correct. International extortion, however, is. While federal law does not explicitly make revenge porn a federal crime, a foreign national extorting a U.S. citizen with threats of violating a state law, when such threat is transmitted across state borders, is absolutely a federal crime. It's 18 U.S.C. Section 875 if you're interested. Edit, correction. I had inadvertently cited Section 873. It is in fact Section 875. Another lawyer chimes in with a long post but TLDR. Commenter, TLDR, going to the FBI wouldn't threaten criminal action, it would threaten deportation, which from the company's perspective may well be worse. OOP, causing corporate counsel a very bad day was kinda the goal. Appreciate the added context. I know exceedingly little about immigration law. Believability. So here's the thing. You are totally justifiable in being skeptical. Anyone can say anything. In this case, the story and all elements in it are factual. And slight correction. The cited section of the U.S. Code doesn't deal with kidnapping. It deals with interstate communications. Paragraphs A through C deal with ransom, kidnapping, and threats to kidnap. Paragraph D deals with threats to reputation. The section deals with criminal interstate communications. Not kidnapping only. But yes, I admit, I meant 5, I typed 3. Minor typo, major change. As for my post history. Well. I'm not actually paid to give legal advice here. This is largely my mess around account where I talk about video games and an AI-related side gig I do. Though there's some scattered posts here and there that make reference to it. If it's a lie, it's a long con. Typos. It's a running joke that my spelling and grammar are embarrassingly atrocious. It's why I have someone who proofreads all my stuff. Why did you create a client relationship with someone you know? So's and hard to stay ethical. You're absolutely correct. It very much does. And the content of the conversation I had with my friend about exactly what I would do for her in the context of this is not part of this post. Nor would I even be allowed to share them without permission, as it would violate privilege. I am very careful, and I am well aware of the duties and responsibilities it entails. That was a conversation I had between her and myself. The content of that conversation is not subject to nor relevant to this. Ultimately. Well, true, but I am incidentally a labor law attorney and know exactly what to say to get corporate types running scared. Here's your employee photographing other people in the workplace and sharing pictures of the content of his work laptop is a bad look. And that's where I'm getting started. Tomorrow if I don't hear back I go to, so you gonna do something about this, or do I take this to your social media pages? I already have proof it's him. If he loses his job he might post the pictures. So. Yes. Quite possibly. I brought this up to her. Her response is she's not terribly concerned if that happens. The pictures, from my understanding, were not terribly identifiable, nor majorly risque. She is not largely concerned with it happening. What angered her was the hubris and gall of it. Him thinking he could make these threats without consequences or reprisals. She's not terribly concerned if he does it. She wants him to know she knows who he is. One more regarding that. Commenter, just a thought here, since they're getting the consequences of actions they only threaten to do, now they have no reason not to do those actions, there's no reason for them not to share your friend's nudes now BC, there's nothing to lose. I would have considered stacking the evidence for revenge like you did, but then holding it over their head instead of pulling the trigger so soon. Just my thoughts though. OOP, I mean, I disagree with that fundamental premise. There's a lot to lose. Years of his life to lose. Revenge porn isn't just some bad things to do, it's a crime, and while threatening it is bad, doing it is worse and carries a much harsher sentence. To the same extent any prison is a deterrent to any criminal conduct. There's still very much to lose here. Blackmailers and extorters plan on this logic. They get off on putting their victims in that situation. They get off on the fear and anguish. At a certain point, one may decide to stand up and go, I know who you are. I've already hurt you. I am capable of hurting you even deeper if you follow through with that threat, and accept that they might, and act accordingly if they do. She's okay with that and has made peace with the possibility. I stand by to help her pursue the next level should it come to that. Also, since they're getting the consequences of actions they only threaten to do. No, he's getting the consequences of his threat. That's a subtle but important distinction. Threatening to carry out revenge porn is itself a crime. This is not, he's getting his life fucked for something he didn't do, what he did do is already a crime. That's the point here. Threatening it is, in and of itself, a crime. You're in love with her. In a platonic sense in that she's a very near and dear friend? Sure. In a romantic sense? Nah, I'm quite thoroughly partnered and very much not single. Update post, April 4th, 2024, next day. Barely 12 hours later. Before I get into the update though, I want to clarify a few things from my original post, primarily about the contact to the employer, and why. Some questioned its truthfulness. While the entire story is true, some details were omitted for various reasons. There was more I had in our possession that did positively identify this individual. So, would a lawyer contact his employer, like some stated would not be done? Depends. I did not do what I did on behalf of a client who retained me. I did it as a friend to help a friend. And as her friend who is also a labor and employment law attorney, I knew exactly how to squeeze this. And here's the thing. I was absolutely aware, from the onset, that the revenge porn threat would go nowhere with his employer. Even if I could clearly lay out how the person with this screen name was in fact this person who works at this company, all we had are screenshots. If it was just the revenge porn threat, any employer would go, well, thank you for bringing it to our attention, but even if we accept our employee uses this screen name, and we neither confirm nor deny anyone of that name works here, we have no provenance on this. This is just an alleged screenshot of an alleged conversation that could be easily edited and manipulated. Please feel free to pursue this with local authorities, and rest assured, should we be asked to, we will cooperate fully with any law enforcement inquiry, but we have no further comment at this time. And I know that's what they would say, because that's exactly what I would say. An alleged screenshot of an alleged conversation that was allegedly sent under an alleged username that is allegedly one of our employees? Whatever, dude, call the cops if you're worried about it, we'll answer them honestly if they come to us. The issue wasn't the revenge porn threat. It was the picture of the contents of the work laptop. Because that can't be faked. There's no way for her or me to create a false image of the actual proprietary information on his work computer unless he sent it. There's no way for me or her to have possession of images taken of his co-workers without their consent unless he sent them. The proof here wasn't that this person broke the law. It's that he sent pictures of company employees and property which would absolutely be verifiable by their IT department that yes, this is absolutely his laptop. That's what would get him fired. So I advised my friend not to block him, to sit back and wait and not respond to anything but let him dig himself in deeper. And respond he did. Update, same post, 1 hour later. He's been fired. So, with now definitive proof that the individual in the online conversation is in fact this person, we'll forward it all to the local authorities in his country, along with his license plate number. They're more than capable of getting his home address. Relevant comments. How did he respond? A lot of, how could you, and, I didn't mean it, and, I didn't even do anything. Commenter, I can't believe people didn't understand the proof you sent to the company. As soon as I saw that he sent pics of company property and employees, I knew he was fired. OOP, I admit I was a little confused by the whole, no lawyer would ever do that. Seriously? You hurt a friend and hand me a way to fuck with you? And you think I won't press that button as hard as I can? What is it you people think we do? Commenter, I can 100% believe this. One of my best friends from college is an attorney. He's basically Bruce Banner. You do not want to make him angry. This is literally something I can see him doing with a huge smile on his face. OOP, I am amused overall with people being like, that's not what an attorney would do. Send an email. Dude. That's the first thing we do 90% of the time. Commenter, and 75% of that 90%, you need take no further action. OOP, absolutely. 1. This is what happened. 2. This is what I expect you to do about it. 3. This is what I'm going to do if you don't. Option 3 is going to be way more unpleasant for you than option 2. So strongly consider option 2. Or I'm going to make that decision for you and you are not going to like that. The vast majority of the work that lawyers do is just sending an email, discussing options, and coming to a mutually acceptable outcome. Most times a strongly worded email from a lawyer is enough to get the outcome wanted. That's most of what we do. Commenter, like I could kinda understand if maybe it was just a client, but this is a friend and he like handed it to you on a silver platter. How can you say no to that? I'm not entirely sure what people think lawyers do cause this seems par the course for me lol. OOP, yeah like. I never said I was a criminal attorney. Or even a civil tort attorney. What I am is a labor and employment law enforcement attorney for the government. Which means I know exactly how to make a company squirm. I am absolutely and deeply aware nothing I had was evidence enough for a criminal case. It didn't need to be. I'm not law enforcement. But I knew exactly what I was holding on to and exactly how to make sure his employer knew there was no way this ended with him having a job. Because that's what I do. And I had enough to make it very very clear to them that this ended in one way. One more long comment from OOP about what being a lawyer is and how media has warped it. Well, that's sort of the thing. I was absolutely acting as her lawyer. But I was doing so in a way that actual lawyers do, and not what people think lawyers do. Most of what lawyers do isn't courtroom theatrics. At the end of the day, a lawyer is basically a professional, very bad day, threatener. Because the sad reality is most people, even those with legitimate grievances and reasonable expectations, will be bullied, ignored, attacked and harassed for trying to get their legitimate grievance resolved, because it's easier and cheaper to do that to those who have no resources to fight back. Because let's say you do harm to someone and cost them $10,000 in damages and they come to you telling you they want their $10,000 in damages. When you know they don't have the knowledge or resources to fight you on this, it's a sound financial move to just go, no. What are you gonna do about it? Us. We're what they do about it. And 90% of what lawyers do is just be the lawyer has entered the chat guy. Because, again, we're really good at giving someone a very bad day. In a very, okay, I'm going to give you two options. Option 1 is you sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, listen to what I'm going to tell you, then do what I tell you to do. What's option 2, you ask? Well, this? All this? This is me being nice. Option 2 is I start being way less nice. So be a good little boy, and do what you're told, or I go with option 2. And when I'm done with option 2, you're going to think back on this moment and really wish you went with option 1. Because I assure you, as much as option 1 is going to hurt, option 2 is going to really hurt. Or maybe it won't. Maybe you'll get lucky. Roll those dice if you really want to, but don't say I didn't warn you. Because, as a reminder, I'm being nice right now. This is me nice. You have 5 minutes to pick option 1 or I pick option 2 for you. Tick-tock, sort of way. So I was absolutely acting as a lawyer here. I was just doing what most lawyer work actually is. Which is really just explaining, here's what you need to do to avoid having a very bad day.